Hey, welcome to Monday Menopause Motivation. This is on my schedule of lives, Monday morning at 9 a.m. to go live simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook, and then adding TikTok on my iPad later. So I always come here early to explain how it works. I add the TikTok audience because I'm not able to use Restream for TikTok, and that's where I have a larger following of people that enjoy my lives. So I pay attention to what they say. Sometimes I even have a co-host join me in the TikTok live. So if you see me looking up like this, that means I'm paying attention to them, but I'm not ignoring you. Please participate. If you write something in the chat, I will see it. I will respond to any questions. So feel free to participate. I want you to, in fact. So today, I have an interesting little tidbit that I'm going to use, some research I did that I'm going to use to motivate you through your week. And I hope that something I say helps you to get through this day and through the rest of the week. Let me just introduce myself to those who may not know who I am. I am Sharice Watson. I'm a menopause wellness coach, and I help women transition easier through peri and postmenopause. And what I use to do that is a journal I wrote called But My Vagina Still Works, that is available in the TikTok shop, but also on Facebook and YouTube. You can click the link in my bio and purchase this notebook, this journal. Sorry. This is a second edition as well. There was a first one that came out in 2024. But I'm always researching things pertaining to menopause. So I find more things about my journey that need talking about. So the first journal had 3 sections: physical wellness in menopause, emotional wellness in menopause, and social wellness in menopause. And then some added bonus features on phytoestrogen foods that can help you because they mimic the effects of estrogen on the body. Okay, so that was in the first edition. But in the second edition, I add some things that gave me better insight on how you can help yourself through menopause holistically. That's adding meditation to your journey. I also talk about my experience getting a subarachnoid hemorrhage, which I wrote about on Substack, but it's also in this journal because, yes, it was related to menopause. Many things that we go through are, and we don't know it until later on. So that's what's new about this second edition, some additional insights and holistic solutions to help you on your way through this journey. And also with the journal, anytime someone purchases one, they get 30 minutes of free coaching. Forgive me. Sometimes my brain gets scattered. You know how it is if you're in menopause, okay? 30 minutes of free coaching come with that journal when you purchase it. So go to the link in my bio. You maybe even are using hormone replacement therapy, and maybe you think you don't need holistic solutions. Yes, you do. Because sometimes people can't use hormone replacement therapy. Either they can't get it on their insurance coverage, or they can't really use it because of medical reasons. So you're going to need some holistic solutions. And that's why I recommend my journal, because it has those solutions, but also because journaling is self-care, and you need to really add a lot of self-care in your menopause journey. So that's what I'm going to say before I add TikTok to the live. That is a special gems for my YouTube and Facebook audience. So I'm now going to add TikTok to the live, and then we'll discuss something else that may help you through your journey this week. Hang on with me while I do this. Just 1 second. Let's see. Okay. Let me see here. Make sure I get everything right. Because yesterday we had some issues. We did. I wasn't even able to complete the live on Facebook and YouTube because of the issues, the technical issues I was having. So hopefully I won't have them today. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining my live today. Thank you for joining the live. I am Sharice Watson. I am a menopause wellness coach. Good morning and welcome to the live. Today is Menopause Monday Motivation. So I come here on a schedule. I come here and I go live Mondays at 9 a.m., Wednesdays at 12 noon, Thursdays at 6 p.m., and Sundays at 11 a.m. So that's my live schedule. There's different names for each live. So Sunday brunch live, bring your own food. That's Sunday. Hi, Dash, Miss Dash. And then Monday menopause motivation. That's today. And I just try to help people have a little motivation going through the week because menopause can be altering, life altering. And this is my 21 years into the journey so far. So I try to give out the knowledge I have on what helped me get through this menopause metamorphosis. Hi, Denise. Welcome to the live. Thank you for joining today. Today I want to talk about something I posted last year about menopause. Hi, Sean. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you for joining the live. I honestly feel like the menopause transition through peri and postmenopause. Hi, Nisha. Hi, Light. Thank you for joining the live. The whole journey is a call back to look at nature for answers. That's why I wrote the journal with so many holistic solutions in it. So I'm Sharice Watson. I'm a menopause wellness coach, and I wrote this journal called But My Vagina Still Works. This is the second edition. The first edition came out in 2024. This is the second edition. And I wrote it because I have gone through this experience pretty much white knuckling. I did not start using HRT until earlier this year, and it was for a specific purpose. I don't know if any of you are familiar with genital urinary syndrome in menopause, but that happened to me this year. And I started using hormone replacement therapy to help with the situation. So I did a whole podcast on GSM. So if you're interested in learning about my experience with genital urinary syndrome in menopause, and that in itself has a plethora of symptoms, GSM, it's many. Some people used to call it vaginal atrophy because that is part of it, tissue death. Let me not laugh. Okay. Tissue death is a part of GSM, along with dryness, frequent urinary tract infections. Uh, so I wrote about that. So that's a new symptom for me this year, and I'm 21 years in. Some of y'all out here, you pause unicorns, don't have no problems, and good for you. But I wasn't one of them, and I'm still not. Okay. So I come here because I want to just share my experience. Honestly, I think what I'm doing is healing out because my journey was traumatic. I need healing from it. I need to be healed from the journey itself and all the ways it affected me at the time that I didn't understand. Okay. So my live schedule to connect with people is Sunday brunch live. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Yesterday we had some technical difficulties. Today is Monday Menopause Motivation. That's what we do on Monday, is try to get some motivation for the week, the going forward of the week. And things that you can do to calm your nerve in situations like driving. That's producing a lot of anxiety for women in perimenopause. They're discovering now that driving is making them a little nervous. So we share techniques on Wednesday on how to calm your nervous system. Thursday we thrive because menopause is tough, but you can still thrive as older women in society. So that's what we talk about on Thursdays. So, and that's 6 p.m. Everything is Eastern Standard Time because that's where I'm at. So join me on these lives. I really appreciate it. And ask me questions if you want. That's cool. I'll answer as many as I can. But today I want to talk about something that happened last year. I was looking at, because I go back to nature, I constantly feel that the whole transition is a call to nature. Look to nature for answers. That's why I talk about phytoestrogen foods, phytoestrogen based foods being a part of your diet because phytoestrogen foods mimic the effect of estrogen. So going back to nature, go look up phytoestrogen foods or get my journal because I talk about phytoestrogen based foods in it. And then I also made a cookbook with some recipes using phytoestrogen based foods, Kitchen Alchemy, which is also in the TikTok shop. Okay. It's always somebody, y'all. And so going back to nature is the best way to combat some of the symptoms. Going back to nature and things holistic will help you in your journey. So that's why I wrote those books, and they go hand in hand together. But I wanted to say that last year I was looking at what do the animals in nature, do they go through menopause? I was wondering that. And I know it's weird. I think about weird stuff. Like every weird thing that happened to me between 2005 and 2017 when I found relief. That's a long time. I call it a menopause fog. And so every time I look back at that experience, I remember how, let me see, I'm having a problem. So I'm just trying to get rid of something. So every time I look at, nature and the things that happen in nature, I I'm reminded how much we can learn from nature, how much we can use nature as an example. So I was looking last year at the animals that experience menopause. Oh gosh, I can't get back. Okay. Okay. I had a problem. I had a problem with a cuckoo commenter again, and you weren't here, so I had to try to figure out how to block them. Okay. I was like, oh no, how do I do this? That is hilarious. So I was talking about last year, I was looking into animals in nature that experience menopause as well, and how, menopause is a transition that calls you to look at nature for answers, right? That's why we have the journal, The Holistic Solutions, because they point back to nature to solve your issues. And when I looked that up, I found some information about whales and elephants. And the information that I had then was that elephants go through a menopause similar to females in the human species. Okay. But this is the new information that I found. They are still able to reproduce well into their later years in life. So, unlike us, completely stops. Elephants can still reproduce, but they become very important to the herds because their knowledge saves their herds from becoming extinct. As far as nature is concerned, they can't control what men do, so that's different. But in nature, they are the ones in their herd that keeps the herds alive because of their knowledge and their transition of menopause. They don't completely stop reproducing like we do, but there is another species in nature that does completely stop reproducing like we do and go through menopause, and that is the orca whale. Did y'all know that? Yes. And honestly, like when I heard about elephants last year, I was so shocked. I even wrote a whole article, a Substack, and I made, hi, good morning, Julian. And I made a carousel here on TikTok about the elephants. And I briefly mentioned the I briefly mentioned the whale in that because I was just fascinated from the elephant aspect. But now I've learned that they do stop reproducing. So their menopause is not completely like ours, but the orca whale is. They stop producing and become like the matriarch of the whole pods. Like they know, from their years uh, to navigate and how to keep food and how to survive so that they don't become extinct. And I know, like, there's humans out there that kill animals for whatever pleasure they get out of it. I don't know. But that's not something that they can control. But as far as nature is concerned, they are the ones that are a lot of women feel going through this. This is it. you know, it's happening. It's I'm old. I'm old. What am I here for? Why? Because that's what our society, how it treats older women. Like, okay, next. We done with you. So that's what society says. But looking at nature, that's not true. That's not true. And we know that the women who go through this journey, and at least we're supposed to be gaining wisdom. Now there are exceptions to the rule. We see older women out there doing some stuff that we like, girl, you should know better. Like picking a fight at a drive-through at 75. That's not the move. I don't know that. Yeah. So there are exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, the women that reach the age of menopause usually have gained a lot of wisdom, especially if you're a Black woman in America, right? That would be interesting because, like I was saying before, everybody can't use hormone replacement therapy. And that's why I made the journal to point you back to nature to use solutions holistically. And the journal has space for you to keep track of what works and what doesn't work. So that's where it becomes a very good tool. Try something, journal about how it works or doesn't work. And then you can keep track of the things that help you and also the things that trigger your symptoms to be worse. But let me just say this, there's a study of the orca female whales, which found that older post reproductive females were more likely to lead group movements, especially during years when salmon was scarce. Researchers concluded that older females appeared to be drawing on ecological knowledge accumulated over decades. Now, they'll study a whale more than they'll study women in menopause. So our society seems to uplift animals versus women. Right. Oh my God. How crazy is that? Okay, and then also the researchers studying resident orcas observed that older females are more likely to share food with family members, particularly during periods of scarcity. This is one proposed mechanism for why their presence improves offspring and grand offspring survival. The thing about the whales, the orca whales in particular, is the males do not live that long. They don't. So part of the female's job is to help them live longer. Don't they always say that men who have wives for long live longer? People always say that. Come on now. Female orcas generally stop reproducing around age 40, but can live for decades afterwards, sometimes into their 80s. Scientists view this as evidence that evolution favored keeping these females alive because they continue contributing to family success after reproduction ends. Yes. After they stop producing children. That sounds completely opposite of our society, right? Well, we're not saying that happens in our society, but the value of women certainly goes down because we are a patriarchal society. I'm not saying they're offing us, but they certainly have shown that they don't care after you get past a certain age. I mean, some of the things that we're finding out about menopause now is because we started just banging on the door saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" My butt feels like a hair is crawling there. So that's why I wanted to first correct something from the post I made about elephants because I thought that they stopped reproducing and went through menopause like us, but no, they don't. So they continue to be able to have children, but that doesn't mean they're fertile. It just means that they don't go through menopause exactly like us. But the orca seems pretty much on pace with us and every aspect. Around 40, that's us. Right. Taking care of the men so they don't die off. Menopause warriors. The orca is a menopause warrior. Yeah, that's my thought of for today. That's my Monday menopause motivation is for you to know. Number one, look to nature to see what's there that can help you with your symptoms. That's number one, because you're going to find it. You're definitely going to find it. Then, number two, buy my journal from the TikTok shop. That's number two. The third thing is to know that you are important at any age. You have value, especially when you are seasoned and know something and can pass that knowledge on for the survival of our species. How about that? Yay! Clap, clap. You are fabulous and keep going. You is important, definitely, especially with holding up this society. You have value well beyond your age, and no, the limitations that happen, they're easy to overcome. Okay, I know that it's hard for some of you right now. I've been there, and I still get symptoms 21 years in. So, hi, Yappy. That's an interesting name. Yeah, so I want to encourage you to know that you're valuable. You have a meaningful life even in at 60 and beyond, okay? You can help people with your wisdom and experience to hold up and continue our species. Doesn't that make you feel great and powerful? So are you. Wow, finally I get some applause or something. Okay, well, that's it for today. I'm not one to just belabor the point and stay on live just for staying on live. I have a day that I have planned to get outside in nature because it's not going to be triple digits today. So, you guys